The buck was still steaming when I found it, and that was the first thing that was wrong. It was lying directly under my tree stand, a mature whitetail, 8 points, on its side and 4 inches of fresh snow that had stopped falling around 3 that morning. Its head was gone. Not torn off. Gone. The neck opened in a single clean line like something had been drawn straight across it, and the cut face was smooth. There was steam coming off the open body in the cold, which meant it had been alive maybe 20 minutes before I climbed down. And there was not one drop of blood. Not on the snow, not on the deer, not anywhere. A 500-pound animal, freshly killed and opened up, lying in unbroken white snow, and the only tracks within 100 yards of it were the ones I had just made walking in. I want you to sit with that for a second, because I did, for a long time, before I understood what I was looking at. Something had killed a deer under my stand, in the dark, standing in snow, and left no weight behind. No blood to fall, no feet to land. My name is Wade Coyle. I've hunted the same unit in the northern part of my state for going on 30 years. A big, roadless block, spruce and dark timber. The kind of country you have to earn on foot. I hunt it for meat, not for a wall. I know how a gut pile looks. I know how a coyote-worked carcass looks. I know how a wolf kill reads in snow, and I have field-dressed more deer than I could count. When I say what I found made no sense, understand I'm not a man who's easily spooked by the woods. The woods are the one place I've always felt right. I was 5 days into a solo hunt, camped in a wall tent a mile off the nearest 2-track, hunting a stand I'd hung on the edge of a cut where the deer moved at first light. 5th morning, I walked in before dawn like always, and my headlamp found the buck before I ever got to the tree. Here is what a kill is supposed to leave behind. A struggle. Blood. Always blood. Sprayed or pooled or dragged. Tracks. A predator has to walk up to its prey, and it has to weigh something, and in fresh snow that story is written plain. I've read 100 of those stories. This one had no story. The snow around the buck was as smooth as a made bed. I circled it twice, wide, looking for the track I knew had to be there, the one I'd missed, and there was nothing. No wolf pad, no cat, no man, no drag mark. Nothing but a clean white ring with a headless deer in the middle of it, and my own boot prints coming in from the east. I did the same thing. I told myself poachers. Somebody took the head for the rack and dumped the body. But you don't take a head that clean without a saw and a mess. And there was no mess. And you don't carry a deer in and out of deep snow without leaving half an acre of sign. I stood there until the sun came up, and then I dragged that buck off a ways so it wouldn't sour my stand, and I hunted, because that's what I'd come to do. The next morning there was another one, closer, maybe 60 yards from the stand, toward my tent this time. A doe, opened the same way, the same single smooth cut, the same missing head. Still warm, still no blood. And the snow, a fresh 2 inches had fallen overnight, a clean sheet. The snow around her was untouched. Except now there was something new, and it took me a minute to see it, and when I saw it, the bottom went out of my stomach. The doe had been field-dressed, not torn into, dressed. The body cavity was opened along the belly in a long, careful line, the way I do it, the way a man does it with a knife when he means to save the meat. The organs were set aside in a neat pile to the left of the carcass. clean, deliberate. The work of hands that knew exactly what they were doing. I hunt alone out there for a reason. There was no one within miles of me, and something had knelt over that doe in the night, in my snow, and gutted her the way I would have, and walked away without touching the ground. I should have left. I know that now. I didn't because a part of me still believed there was an answer, and I am the kind of stubborn that mistakes fear for a puzzle. For 4 more mornings there was a kill, and every single morning it was closer to my tent, walking a straight line in from the timber the way the doe had pointed. One day 40 yards, then 30, then 15. Always warm, always bloodless, always trackless, and always dressed a little more completely than the last. The third one was quartered, the hindquarters laid out clean on the snow. The fourth was quartered, and the backstraps taken out whole and set on top. Presented, the best cuts up, the way you'd hand a man his share. That's when I understood it, all at once, standing over a pile of meat that had been butchered exactly the way I butcher, laid out exactly the way I lay mine out. It wasn't taking these deer from me. It was leaving them for me. It had been watching me hunt that unit, maybe for 30 years, and it had learned how I do it. Every cut, every habit, and it was doing it back. It was showing me it could. It was showing me we were the same. So put yourself in my boots. You're a mile from your truck, alone, and something you can't see or track has spent a week killing deer in your camp and butchering them the way you do, laying your share out on the snow each morning, a little closer to where you sleep. Do you keep hunting? Do you run in the dark through a mile of timber where it lives? Tell me honestly what you do, because I finally did the thing I should have done on morning 1. I set my trail camera, and I have never been sorrier that I looked. I pulled my trail cam off the cut trail and mounted it on the tree beside my stand, pointed down at the ground where the kills kept coming, set it to fire on motion, night mode, and I went and lay in my tent with my rifle across my chest, and I did not sleep. In the morning, there was a kill. Of course there was. I took the card back to the tent and put it in my tablet with my hands not quite steady, and I went through the night, frame by frame, for hours. Nothing. Empty snow, the timestamp climbing. Then, at 3:14 in the morning, one frame with the deer already there. Just there, between one shot and the next, 30 seconds apart. Empty snow, then a whole dead buck. No motion in between. The camera never triggered on anything walking in, because nothing walked in. And in the last frame, the one taken a full minute after the deer appeared, the buck is lying dressed on the snow, my share laid out on top, and back in the black edge of the timber, at the very limit of the infrared, something is standing up on 2 legs and looking at the camera. It's tall. It's wearing the shape of a deer's head, and it has one hand raised, flat, the way you raise a hand to somebody you know across a field. It was waving. It saw the camera, and it waved. I left that morning. I left the tent, the stand, the camera, $400 of gear, and I walked the mile to my truck in daylight without looking behind me once. And I have never gone back to that unit, and I never will. I reported it, the way you report the parts you can prove. The warden logged 8 deer, predation, undetermined, and closed it. And he told me privately he'd had 2 other men off that same block over the years quit hunting it, and not want to say why. He asked me what I thought did it. I didn't have a word for him then. I do now. It wasn't hunting those deer. It was hunting me. Slow and patient and kind about it. The way I've walked a wounded animal down gentle so it wouldn't run. It spent a week showing me it knew my hands, my cuts, my share, teaching me. Something in that dark timber had looked at me across 30 years and decided I was close enough to one of them that I was worth bringing in. And the part I can't put down, the part that keeps me up, it waved like a friend. It wasn't warning me off. It was inviting me home. The Treeline case files are dramatized from reported wilderness encounters. Names, locations, and details are changed. If you've ever found something in the woods that read wrong, a kill with no story, a track that shouldn't exist, a feeling that you were the one being hunted, the submission form is in the description. Watch your back at first light. The next case file is already open.